So synthetic nicotine, it's created in a lab and it's not derived from tobacco. So I can't necessarily explain specifically the science that goes into that, but I can tell you that it is extremely expensive to make. And this is a new and kind of developing area that we've seen some manufacturers have begun to use synthetic nicotine in their products. And so the reason for that is the FDA asserts regulatory authority over tobacco and derivatives of tobacco. So back in 2016, when they published the deeming rule, they defined tobacco products as products that were derivative of the tobacco plant. So nicotine is a derivative of the tobacco plant, and that is how the FDA extended its authority to include these electronic smoking devices, because yes, they include liquid nicotine product, and nicotine is a derivative of tobacco. So at the time, I don't know that they were kind of anticipating that industry may then switch to these synthetic nicotine products that are created in a lab and are not derivatives from the actual plant. So moving forward a little bit, I just want to give a really brief history on this, because Puff Bar is the main company that we've heard about being someone that's using the synthetic nicotine in their products instead of nicotine that's derived from the tobacco plant. So back in July of 2020, Puff Bar gets a warning letter from the FDA telling them to remove their products from the market. And actually, the reason they were telling them to remove their products from the market was because they actually introduced them after 2016. And the FDA in 2016, when they asserted their authority over tobacco products, they said, we're not going to issue enforcement against those who have their, electronic smoking devices on the market still. We're going to let you submit your pre-market tobacco product application. But that applies to products that are already on the market now. Puff Bar just went ahead and introduced them after that date. So the FDA says, you were introduced after this date, whether or not you submit a pre-market tobacco product application, our enforcement discretion doesn't apply to you. So that was back in July of 2020. Then moving forward a little bit, in February of 2021, Puff Bar announces that their products that they're selling are actually including synthetic nicotine, not nicotine that is a derivative of tobacco. And so presumably that's how they feel they can get around the FDA regulation. The FDA has spoken out and said they're going to be handling this on a case-by-case basis. So we have yet to see anything else specifically, any other word on this, but of course we are tracking very specifically what they're going to do and what they're saying. So here in Maryland, obviously the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission has authority over the licensing and the taxation of tobacco products. And so at the Legal Resource Center, we've been asked quite a bit, do our laws cover synthetic nicotine? We see what's happening at the federal level. Do our laws in Maryland, are they broad enough to encompass these products? So we engaged in analysis and we have concluded that yes, our definitions are broad enough to include these products. We also spoke with the Office of the Attorney General and they concur with this position that yes, our products or our definitions are broad enough to encompass these products. So the definition of other tobacco product and electronic smoking devices, it does vary some across like our licensing, taxation, and sales restrictions. But like I said, there is some variation there, but they are broad enough. And I'm just going to get into that, show you the language here on the screen and show you a little more specifically what I am referring to. So licensing for other tobacco products. I've included the language here, the definition, just a select part of this here. And as you'll see, they're talking about this is other tobacco products include the products that are intended for human consumption and that are made of or derived from anything that contains tobacco or nicotine. They don't specify whether it has to be nicotine as a derivative of the tobacco plant or just any type of nicotine. It's just nicotine. And so again, now we're looking at the electronic smoking devices, the licensing article there. So anything that can be used, any device that can be used to deliver aerosolized or vaporized nicotine to an individual. They're not qualifying what nicotine means. This could be a derivative of tobacco, could be synthetic, or who knows, maybe some other type of nicotine down the road. So here, looking at licensing, it looks like we are certainly covered for products that contain synthetic nicotine. Taxation. Here in our taxation article for other tobacco products and electronic smoking devices, it's referring to the business regulation article definitions for each. You'll see the 16.5 101 and 16.7 101. And so because they're deferring to those definitions, and I've just talked a little bit about what they're saying and what that means there, it's the same definition, so the same explanation that I just provided applies there as well. All right, now as far as sales are concerned, I know the Alcohol and Tobacco Commission, this isn't necessarily your specific area, you don't regulate in this area, but just to let you know, we wanted to make it clear that the same analysis applies here as well. When we're looking at the civil penalties for those who sell electronic smoking devices to people under 21, they're referring to that same definition in the business regulation article, the licensing provisions for electronic smoking devices. Same definition there. And then for the criminal penalty for selling to those under 21, they include a definition of tobacco product here, but it's the same exact concept here. You'll see I have in quotes. It's, we're talking about human inhalation, absorption, etc., of a product that's made of, derived from, or contains tobacco or nicotine. So same thing. Our sales statutes should apply as well to synthetic nicotine products. And so I think Tom mentioned briefly, there was a bill, HB 1227. And so it's really our thought and our position that this doesn't do anything, this bill. We think the language is clear enough. But I would note that specifically what that bill does as far as the language is concerned, it amends the sales restriction to specifically include the word synthetic nicotine. And it also would amend the licensing article. It doesn't make any reference to the taxation piece of this. And it also amends the tobacco use cessation programming, which is that's managed by MDH. So there isn't any kind of implications for regulatory power. And that definition there is pretty narrow. So we don't think it would cover synthetic nicotine, but that has no impact on the regulatory scheme or the sales to those under 21. So we don't see this bill as really doing anything, but just kind of complicating the mix. And I have other thoughts on that as well, but just wanted to make that point and make that clear. So I have included here on my on the last slide my phone number, email address, and name. If we have any time, I'm of course happy to take questions now. Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, Brooke. Anybody have any questions?
Mr. Chairman,
Executive Director, any comments?
Yes, sir. If I may, thank you. Only to say that, thank you, Brooke, very much for that. Yes, we were also involved in the discussion with the general, not general, but the council, the AG, the assistant attorney generals, signed to the Department of Health and to legislative services also. And Tom was very much involved in that work. We also concur. We think existing language is there for us to take enforcement action when the term nicotine is used to cover synthetic. We don't see that as an issue either. Not sure really if the bill helps us or hurts us, but regardless, we feel very much empowered and authorized to act on that as it exists.
All right, thank you.
Anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay. I think at this point, unless there's anybody else who has any comments, I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn. Everybody wants to? Oh, okay. I wondered if you want to stay on for the rest of the day. I need a second, please.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Pose same sign. All right, thank you all very much. Thomas, welcome aboard. Mr. Kelly, I think we're moving in the right direction. Thank you for keeping us informed on the legislative issues. I just should note that I will be appearing before the Senate Appointments Committee Monday, the 21st at 5 o'clock to get formal approval to be on the commission, being I was appointed in May of last year and the legislature was not in session. So wish me luck.
Good luck, Alan.
All right. Thank you. Take care. Have a great week.
You all.
Bye.
Bye-bye.